Have you ever stopped to question if your thoughts are truly real? What if everything you believe about your mind is just an illusion? In this video, we will uncover the truth about how your thoughts work, how they shape your reality, and guide you in ways you've never imagined. Specifically, we will explore how to break free from the traps of your mind to live with clarity, peace, and freedom. If this is your first time visiting our channel, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay updated with our latest videos on spiritual topics, inner awakening, and philosophical insights. Your thoughts feel incredibly real, don't they? But what if I told you that they're nothing more than illusions, shaping your reality in ways you've never questioned? At their core, thoughts are nothing more than electrical impulses in the brain. These signals are sent between neurons to process information. They are fleeting, temporary bursts of energy. Yet, despite their short-lived nature, we give them extraordinary power. We allow them to dictate how we feel, how we act, and even who we believe ourselves to be. Think about it for a moment. Have you ever tried to hold on to a single thought? The harder you try, the faster it seems to slip away, right? That's because thoughts are like clouds in the sky. They form, they drift, they fade. You don't try to grab a cloud and hold on to it because you know it's not possible. Yet with thoughts, we cling to them, believing they define us. This is where we make the mistake. We treat our thoughts as if they are who we are, but they are merely transient, momentary occurrences that pass through our minds. Here's a liberating truth. Your thoughts do not define you. They are not you. They are simply passing energy, and they hold power over us only because we allow them to. Thoughts arise, we observe them, and then they disappear, just like clouds in the sky. If we can simply observe our thoughts without attaching meaning to them, without identifying with them, we can free ourselves from their hold. The truth is that we are not our thoughts, just as we are not the clouds in the sky. We are the awareness observing those thoughts, and once we realize that, we gain control over how we respond to them. It's this awareness that gives us the power to change our thoughts, change our feelings, and ultimately change our reality. When we stop allowing our thoughts to define us, we begin to recognize that we are the creators of our own experiences. By simply choosing to let go of thoughts that no longer serve us, we can step into a place of peace, clarity, and freedom. This shift in perspective can have a profound impact on every area of our lives, because once we realize that we don't need to hold on to every thought that arises, we open ourselves to a life that is far less governed by fear, doubt, and insecurity. It's time to stop letting your thoughts control you. Start recognizing them for what they truly are, fleeting, temporary waves of energy, and allow yourself to let go of the ones that no longer serve your higher purpose. The moment you do, you unlock a new sense of freedom, and with that freedom comes the ability to consciously shape the reality around you. Thoughts are not reality. They are not facts. In fact, they are mental constructs, interpretations that your brain makes based on the stimuli it receives from the world around you. For example, you might see someone frown, and immediately your brain generates a thought. They're upset with me. But is that really true? Or is it just your mind's interpretation? This automatic process is the reason why thoughts can be so deceiving. They are not solid truths. They are guesses, projections, and stories that your brain creates. Imagine this. You're sitting by a river, watching leaves float by. You don't jump into the river to grab the leaves. You simply watch them pass. This is exactly how you can approach your thoughts. They are like the leaves on the river of your mind, passing, flowing, and ultimately insignificant unless you choose to grab onto them. Just as you wouldn't try to hold onto a leaf as it floats by, you don't have to grab onto every thought that arises in your mind. When you stop identifying with your thoughts and allow them to pass by without attachment, you unlock the freedom to experience life without the constant chatter of your mind. But why do we hold on to thoughts so tightly, especially when we know they're so impermanent? The reason lies in how we've been conditioned. From a young age, we are taught that our thoughts are a part of our identity. We are told to value intellect and self-awareness, to think before we act, and to use our minds to solve problems. Over time, this emphasis on thinking creates the illusion that our thoughts are who we truly are. But here's the truth. Your thoughts are not you. They are simply patterns of energy in your brain. Nothing more, nothing less. Now consider this. If you are not your thoughts, then who are you? The answer to that question is profound, and we will explore it in more detail shortly. But for now, remember this key idea. Thoughts are temporary, unreliable, and ultimately not a reflection of who you truly are. They are the background noise of your consciousness, static on the radio. And the moment you stop identifying with them, you begin to uncover your true self. This is where real freedom begins, when you realize that you are not bound by the constant flow of thoughts. Let's talk about another major illusion we often live with, the illusion of thought control. Many of us believe that we control our thoughts, that we are the masters of the mental dialogue running in our minds. But here's a surprising revelation. You don't control your thoughts. They arise spontaneously, often without any conscious effort. Have you ever been sitting quietly, minding your own business, and suddenly, out of nowhere, an embarrassing memory from years ago pops into your head? Or maybe a random song starts playing in your mind for no apparent reason. This isn't you choosing to think about that memory or song. It's just your mind doing what it does, producing thoughts. This phenomenon becomes even clearer when you try to stop thinking. Go ahead, try it now. Close your eyes and don't think about anything for just 10 seconds. What happens? Your mind rebels, doesn't it? Thoughts flood in despite your best efforts to clear them. This proves that thoughts aren't something you can control at will. They emerge on their own, often without your conscious choice or intention. Understanding that you don't control your thoughts can be liberating. It takes the pressure off. Instead of trying to control or force your mind to be quiet, you can simply observe your thoughts. Let them arise and pass without attachment. The more you practice this observation, the less power these thoughts have over you. You realize that you are not your thoughts, and therefore you can experience life more freely without the constant battle for mental control. What's even more interesting is that when you stop trying to control your thoughts and simply let them flow, they begin to lose their grip on you. You are not caught in the web of mental chatter or distraction. Instead, you gain a new level of awareness and presence in your life. You begin to feel more connected to your true self, to the deeper aspects of your consciousness that exist beyond the fleeting nature of thoughts. In summary, thoughts are not reality, and they do not define who you are. They are temporary, unreliable, and just passing mental phenomena. When you stop identifying with your thoughts, you open up to a greater sense of freedom and peace. Recognizing that you don't control your thoughts, but instead simply observe them, allows you to free yourself from the endless cycle of mental struggle. By practicing mindfulness and awareness, you can reclaim your true power and experience life in a more peaceful, authentic way. Thoughts still arise uninvited, as if they have a life of their own. This happens because the mind is like a factory. It's built to produce thoughts constantly and endlessly. But here's the catch. You are not the factory, and you don't have to identify with its output. The illusion of control over our thoughts is one of the greatest tricks our minds play on us. It makes us believe that just because a thought appeared, it must be ours, and therefore we must act on it or believe it. But the truth is, thoughts arise from a combination of past experiences, societal conditioning, and subconscious processes. They are more like echoes of your environment and upbringing than deliberate choices. Let's break this down with an example. Imagine you're walking past someone who gives you a strange look. Instantly, your mind generates a thought. Did I do something wrong? Do they dislike me? But did you actively choose to think that? Or did your brain automatically generate it based on past insecurities or fears? This automatic nature of thought proves one thing. You are not the creator of your thoughts. You are the observer of them. And when you realize this, the grip your thoughts have over you starts to loosen. Here's the empowering part. When you stop trying to control your thoughts and simply observe them, you begin to understand their true nature. You see that they're not facts, they're not commands, and they certainly don't define you. They are just mental events, like clouds passing in the sky. The more you detach from them, the more freedom you gain. This freedom comes from understanding that thoughts are temporary, fleeting, and not always grounded in reality. Now, let's explore how thoughts shape our perception of the world. Your thoughts don't just come and go, they actively shape the way you see the world. But here's the kicker. The lens through which you view life isn't always accurate. Thoughts are like filters on a camera. They can enhance reality, distort it, or even create a completely false picture. And the most shocking part? You often don't realize it's happening. Take a simple example. You wake up in a bad mood. Maybe you didn't sleep well, or you're stressed about something. Almost immediately, your mind starts interpreting everything through a negative lens. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and you think, people are so rude. Your coworker is quiet during a meeting, and you think, they must be upset with me. But are these interpretations true, or are they simply the result of your thoughts coloring your perception? This process is called cognitive bias, and it's a natural part of how the brain works. Your mind constantly takes shortcuts to interpret the world, but these shortcuts are often based on past experiences and emotions rather than objective reality. For instance, let's say you've had a bad experience with a friend ignoring your texts. Your mind might assume that anyone who doesn't respond quickly is upset with you. This assumption isn't based on the current situation, but on the emotional baggage from the past. These mental shortcuts are often so automatic that we don't even realize we're making them. We become trapped in these false narratives, unable to see the truth in front of us. When we allow our thoughts to control how we interpret reality, we limit ourselves. Our minds, shaped by past experiences and emotions, can make us believe in patterns that aren't real. We start to perceive the world through a distorted lens, one that is influenced by our fears, insecurities, and expectations. This is why it's so important to understand that our thoughts are not reality. They are just interpretations, and like clouds in the sky, they pass. The key to breaking free from these false perceptions is mindfulness and awareness. By practicing being present with our thoughts, we can start to detach from the stories our minds create. Instead of getting caught up in them, we can choose to observe them from a place of awareness. When we do this, we begin to see the world more clearly, without the filters of past experiences or emotional baggage. By recognizing that thoughts are not facts and that they don't define us, we gain the power to shape our reality in a more intentional way. We can start to respond to life based on what's truly happening, not based on what our minds are projecting. This is the freedom that comes with awareness, the freedom to choose how we perceive the world and how we react to it. In conclusion, thoughts are not facts, and they are not who you are. They are just fleeting mental events that arise automatically based on your past and your subconscious. The more you understand this, the more you can separate yourself from them and gain true freedom. Instead of being controlled by your thoughts, you can begin to observe them and let them pass by, just like clouds in the sky. When you stop identifying with your thoughts, you unlock the ability to experience life more fully and more clearly, without the distortion of old stories or beliefs. But that's not reality. That's your mind projecting a thought onto the situation. What's even more fascinating is that your thoughts can create self-fulfilling prophecies. If you believe a situation will go badly, you may unconsciously act in ways that make it happen. For example, if you think, I'm going to mess up this presentation, your anxiety might cause you to stumble over your words, reinforcing the belief that you're not good at public speaking. This cycle of thought, perception, and behavior is why it's so important to recognize that your thoughts are not reality. They are just projections of your mind, and they can distort how you experience life. Here's the good news. Once you become aware of this process, you can start to break free from it. By questioning your thoughts and recognizing them as interpretations rather than facts, you can begin to see the world as it truly is. Free from the distortions of your mind. It's like stepping out of a fog and into clarity. Instead of reacting to every thought that arises, you can observe them from a place of awareness and choose not to identify with them. Now, let's talk about the power of letting go. If thoughts are an illusion, why do we cling to them so tightly? The answer lies in our need for control. We believe that by holding on to our thoughts, analyzing them, and trying to solve them, we can somehow gain control over our lives. But the truth is, this constant mental chatter only creates stress and anxiety. It's like trying to control the wind. You can't stop it, and trying to do so only drains your energy. Letting go of your thoughts doesn't mean ignoring them. It means recognizing them for what they are and choosing not to let them control you. Think of your thoughts as waves in the ocean. If you try to fight the waves, you'll exhaust yourself. But if you float with them, you'll realize they can't hurt you. Letting go is about floating, observing your thoughts without judgment or attachment. This doesn't mean suppressing your thoughts or pretending they don't exist. It means acknowledging them and then releasing them, like letting a bird fly out of an open cage. One powerful way to practice letting go is through mindfulness. When you're mindful, you focus on the present moment rather than getting lost in your thoughts. For example, if you're washing dishes, pay attention to the feel of the water, the sound of the clinking plates, and the motion of your hands. By grounding yourself in the present, you create space between you and your thoughts, making it easier to see them for the illusions they are. Instead of being overwhelmed by your thoughts, you start to realize that they are just passing events, like clouds in the sky. You can choose whether to get caught up in them or let them pass by. The moment you let go of your thoughts, you experience a profound sense of freedom. You realize that you are not the waves, you are the ocean. And as the ocean, you are vast, limitless, and unaffected by the passing storms of the mind. When you detach from your thoughts, you open yourself to a new way of being, one that is calm, clear, and peaceful. You are no longer at the mercy of your mind's fluctuations. Now, let's dive into one of the most profound questions you can ask yourself. Who are you without your thoughts? If you are not your thoughts, then who are you? Most people spend their entire lives identifying with their thoughts, believing that their mental chatter is who they are. We think we are the constant stream of thoughts that we experience. But when you strip away the noise of the mind, what remains? The answer is your true self. Your pure, conscious awareness that exists beyond thought. This is the essence of who you are. It's the part of you that observes the thoughts without judgment. It's the part of you that exists beyond the labels and judgments your mind creates. When you stop identifying with your thoughts, you tap into this deep, unchanging awareness. This is where true peace lies, when you realize that you are not defined by your thoughts. You are the awareness that experiences them, and you have the power to choose how you engage with them. In conclusion, understanding that thoughts are not reality, and that you are not your thoughts, can completely transform the way you experience life. Thoughts are just mental events, temporary and unreliable. When you let go of the need to control them and stop identifying with them, you unlock the freedom to experience life as it truly is. You become the observer, not the participant in the mental drama that often plays out in your mind. By practicing mindfulness and detachment, you open up to a more peaceful and authentic way of being. You begin to realize that you are not your thoughts, but the awareness that experiences them. And in this realization, you find true freedom. Imagine standing in a quiet forest, far away from the noise of the city. In that stillness, you begin to notice things you couldn't hear before. The rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, the gentle whisper of the wind. This is what happens when you quiet your mind. You become aware of the deeper part of you, the part that exists beyond the constant chatter. Your true self is not something you can think about or define with words. It's something you experience. It's the part of you that watches your thoughts without getting caught up in them. It's the awareness that remains steady and unchanging, no matter what's happening in your mind or your life. This realization can be life-changing. When you stop identifying with your thoughts, you free yourself from their limitations. You no longer have to be a prisoner of your fears, doubts, or insecurities. Instead, you can live from a place of peace, clarity, and authenticity. Once you begin to separate yourself from the constant flow of thoughts, You start to see life from a place of calm, detached from the chaos that often dominates your mind. You begin to experience yourself and the world around you with a sense of purity and presence that you may not have felt in years, if ever. To truly grasp why your thoughts are an illusion, we need to dive into their origins. Where do thoughts come from? They are not something you consciously create. In fact, most of the time, they feel like they arise out of nowhere, unbidden and unfiltered. These thoughts are shaped by layers of conditioning: your upbringing, your environment, the culture you grew up in, and your past experiences. But none of these layers are truly you. Let's consider this. If you were born in a completely different culture, with a different language and set of beliefs, your thoughts would reflect that environment, wouldn't they? For example, a child raised in a remote village with no exposure to modern technology would never think about social media algorithms. Their thoughts are shaped by their surroundings, just as yours are shaped by yours. This alone proves that thoughts are not inherently personal. They are borrowed from external influences. Understanding this takes away their power. If your thoughts are simply a reflection of your conditioning, then why should you believe them? Why should you let them define you? The next time a thought arises, especially one that causes you anxiety or self-doubt, pause and ask yourself, where did this come from? Did I choose this thought, or is it just a product of my conditioning? This simple act of questioning can be incredibly freeing. The more you question your thoughts, the more you'll see their illusory nature. They are like shadows on a wall, appearing real but completely dependent on the light source behind them. And once you see the roots of these shadows, you can stop being controlled by them. One of the most transformative realizations is that you are not your thoughts. You are the one observing them. This might sound abstract, but it's actually something you can experience directly. Take a moment right now to notice your thoughts. What's happening? You're watching them, aren't you? There's a part of you that can step back and observe your mind, almost like an audience watching a play. This observer is your true self. It's the part of you that remains unchanged, no matter what thoughts or emotions come and go. This is an incredibly powerful realization because it places you in a position of control. You are not the thoughts you experience. You are the awareness behind them. Thoughts may arise, but you are not bound by them. You don't have to act on every thought, and you don't have to identify with every emotion. By recognizing that you are the observer, you tap into a deeper, more expansive sense of self that is calm, steady, and free from the fluctuations of the mind. When you live as the observer of your thoughts, you free yourself from the mental patterns that have controlled you for so long. You start to experience life more fully, as you no longer allow your thoughts to dominate your perception. Instead of being dragged around by every passing thought, you remain centered and grounded, aware of the thoughts that arise but not attached to them. This shift in awareness is what allows you to experience true peace and freedom. In conclusion, your thoughts are not who you are. They are simply mental events that pass through your mind, shaped by your conditioning and your environment. When you stop identifying with them, you unlock the true power of the observer within you. By recognizing that you are not your thoughts, you gain the freedom to live life on your own terms, not dictated by the passing storms of the mind. You realize that you are the ocean, vast and unchanging, while the thoughts are just the waves that come and go. By observing without attachment, you tap into the boundless peace that exists at the core of your true self. Imagine for a moment that you're feeling angry. The frustration is rising, and you feel consumed by it. But what if you stopped right there and took a step back? What if, instead of just being swept away by the emotion, you recognize that there's a part of you that can observe the anger without becoming it? If you were truly angry, you wouldn't be able to step outside of it and notice it. The very fact that you can recognize and observe your anger means there is a deeper part of you that isn't angry. It's simply aware. This realization can be incredibly liberating because it shifts your perspective entirely. When you begin to identify with the observer, the part of you that is aware of your thoughts and emotions, you start to gain a sense of detachment from them. This doesn't mean you suppress your emotions or ignore them. Instead, it's about recognizing them as temporary, transient experiences that don't define who you are. It's like watching a storm from inside a cozy house. The storm is still happening, the wind is howling and the rain is pouring, but you are safe and grounded inside. The storm can't touch you. You aren't overwhelmed by the chaos of the storm. You simply observe it from a place of peace and security. This perspective allows you to detach from your emotions and thoughts in a healthy way. It gives you the power to choose how you respond to life's challenges rather than reacting impulsively or automatically. When we identify with the observer, we can pause in the midst of emotional turmoil and create a space between stimulus and reaction. This pause is crucial. It allows us to observe the situation, understand our feelings, and make a conscious decision about how we want to respond. Instead of being triggered by every thought or emotional wave, you can choose a response that aligns with your true values and intentions. This is the essence of mindfulness: being present and aware, observing our thoughts and emotions without becoming entangled in them. By practicing mindfulness, you start to notice that your thoughts and feelings are not permanent truths. They come and go, just like clouds in the sky, and by observing them with non-judgment, you free yourself from their control. Understanding the difference between the observer and the observed is the key to mindfulness. You are not your thoughts, your emotions, or your impulses. You are the awareness behind them. When you begin to see yourself as the observer, you realize that you have the ability to shape your response to any situation. No longer are you simply reacting to life as it comes. Instead, you are actively choosing how to engage with it. This shift in perspective can be life-changing, as it puts you in a place of power and peace, no matter the circumstances. Do you think it's possible for a person to control and navigate their thoughts with clarity and insight? What personal experiences do you have that relate to the insights shared in this video? Feel free to share with us in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you learned something from this video, please like, subscribe to the Top Hidden Knowledge channel for more content on wisdom, spirituality, and personal growth. Or if you have time, check out other videos on this channel. Until next time.